It's now time for Science Reading with Mr. Lord.
Hey everyone, I am here in the classroom, and I know in years past people have said, Mr. Lord, the reading on the textbook on the Science Fusion website is really slow and kind of annoying. So what I'm going to do is offer some videos here that allow you to go ahead and read along with me at a little bit of a clipper pace, faster clip, and not have to go through some of the annoying stuff that they do online. So anyway, without further ado, we are looking at Unit 5, Lesson 1, Mitosis. All right, shall we get started? Let's do it. Why do cells divide? Cell division happens in all organisms. Cell division takes place for different reasons. For example, single-celled organisms reproduce through cell division. In multicellular organisms, cell division is involved in growth, development, and repair, as well as reproduction. Reproduction. Cell division is important for asexual reproduction, which involves only one parent organism. In single-celled organism, the parent can divide in two, producing two identical offspring. In single-celled and some multicellular organism, reproduction can occur when a parent organism buds, producing offspring. In multicellular organisms, reproduction by cell division can include plant structures such as runners and plantlets. Growth and repair. One characteristic of all living things is that they grow. You are probably bigger this year than you were last year. Your body is made up of cells. Although cells themselves grow, most growth in multicellular organisms happens because cell division produces new cells. Cell division also produces cells for repair. If you cut your hand or break a bone, the damaged cells are replaced by new cells that form during cell division. And you can see down here, this will be on your textbook questions, okay? So you have to be looking at these organisms and talk about it, okay? All right, let's go on to the next page. What happens to genetic material during cell division? The genetic material in cells is called DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. A DNA molecule contains information that determines the traits that a living thing inherits. In eukaryotes, DNA is found in the nucleus. Within a eukaryotic cell, DNA wraps around proteins to form a complex material called chromatin. Chromatin is organized into specific lengths called chromosomes. In eukaryotes, a chromosome is a thread-like structure. Before cell division, DNA is duplicated or copied. Then, in an early stage of cell division, the chromosomes condense. A duplicated chromosome consists of two identical structures called chromatids. The chromatids are held together by a centromere. And you can see in the picture here that what happens is this DNA over here, okay, replicates to form this one over here. All right? Okay. So, what are the stages of the cell cycle? The life cycle of an organism includes birth, growth, reproduction, and death. The life cycle of a eukaryotic cell, called the life cycle. It can be divided into three stages: interphase, mitosis, and cytokinesis. During the cell cycle, a parent cell divides into two new cells. The new cells are identical to the parent. Let's look at interphase. The part of the cell cycle during which the cell is not dividing is called interphase. A lot of activity takes place in this stage of the cell's life. The cell grows to about twice the size it was when it was first produced. It also produces various organelles. The cell engages in normal life activities such as transporting materials into the cell and getting rid of wastes. Changes that occur during interphase prepare a cell for cell division. Before a cell can divide, DNA must be duplicated. This ensures that after cell division, each new cell gets an exact copy of the genetic material in the original cell. All right, so interphase is very important that the cell does its normal activities, but what happens is the DNA, which is in the form of chromatin, replicates, produces a copy of itself. So then later, it can be moved to two different brand new cells. Okay. Mitosis. This is the second part of cell division, okay, or I should say the cell life cycle. In eukaryotic cells, mitosis is the part of the cell during which the nucleus divides. Prokaryotes do not undergo mitosis because they do not have a nucleus. Mitosis results in two nuclei that are identical to the original nucleus. So, the two new cells formed after cell division have the same genetic material. Chromosomes condense during mitosis in many eukaryotes. Condensed chromosomes are visible under a light microscope. At the end of mitosis, the cell has two identical sets of chromosomes in two separate nuclei. So what ends up happening is basically in mitosis, one cell splits into two exact copies of itself. They're identical. Let's look at cytokinesis. Cytokinesis is the division of the parent cell's cytoplasm. Cytokinesis begins during the last step of mitosis. During cytokinesis, the cell membrane pinches inward between the two nuclei. Eventually, it pinches all the way, forming two complete cells. In a cell that has a cell wall, such as a plant cell, a cell plate forms. The cell plate becomes cell membranes that separate the new cells, and the new cell walls form where the plate was. So in plants, you get a cell wall, and plants need a cell wall because they don't have a structure, an exoskeleton or an internal skeleton to hold everything up. And plants need to stand to reach the sunlight, right? So they have to have cell walls to make them nice and rigid. All right. So what are the phases of mitosis? Mitosis has four phases: prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. By the end of the phases, the cell will have two identical nuclei and cytokinesis will begin. Prophase. During prophase, the chromosomes in the nucleus of a cell condense. At this point, each chromosome consists of two chromatids held together by a centromere. The membrane around the nucleus breaks up. Let's look what happens in metaphase. During metaphase, chromosomes line up in the middle of the cell. Centromeres of the chromosomes are the same distance from each side of the cell, hence the middle. Anaphase. During anaphase, the chromosomes separate. They are pulled to opposite sides of the cell. Each side of the cell ends up with a complete set of chromosomes. Okay. Telophase. The last phase of mitosis is telophase. A new nuclear membrane forms around each group of chromosomes. So, the cell now has two identical nuclei. The chromosomes become less condensed. Cytokinesis begins during this phase. So in telophase is when you start to see cytokinesis start to operate and the cells start to pinch inward and separate into two new ones. Okay, so on this visual summary page, what I want you to do is just kind of look at it and see if you can answer the questions. I will tell you this. The answers, okay, are below here. It's not a secret. Okay, so see and try to answer them and then see if you're correct. Okay. Lastly, we have the lesson review. I will be pulling questions on our quiz from the lesson review. And so if you want to practice recalling your information, you can go through these and I will put the answers up on Schoology. Until next time, bye.